Hey guys, what's going on? Oh wait, you can't see me. Much better. Alright, I have a confession to make. I hate ND filters. Not as much as I hate tripods, but it's definitely up there. And here's why. I really like it simple, I like it easy, and I really hate everything that's complicated. That's pretty much why I'm with Bell. Yeah, right. Anyway, so we're shooting a lot run and gun style, and especially with our Model Shoot Monday series, I like to take pictures as well as shooting video. We like to go from the outside to the inside, and having this ND filter screwing on top of your lens all the time, unscrewing, screwing it on again, it's just a pain in the ass and just one step that I really don't like about filmmaking. So I was really excited when I saw that Freewell came out with magnetic ND filters that you can just pop on top of your lens, take them off, and as simple as that, you have an ND filter when you need one and you don't have one when you don't need one. So especially when shooting photography mixed with videography, this is really a time saver, and I can't really stress enough how much I like them. So here's a little fun fact about the company Freewell. They reached out to us in the beginning of January and they asked us to review one of their new ND filters coming out for drones, as well as some other accessories like a carrying bag or a phone mount, and we actually wanted to try that. We went to Cyprus and we started flying the drone, but then...
What is happening?
We crashed the drone yesterday. We were flying to get some cool aerial shots of the hotel and the area, and then all of a sudden we lost the connection, nothing we could do. We tried to re-establish it, and then the drone was gone. And since the app has a Find My Drone kind of feature, we're trying to look for the last location now, but I wouldn't get my hopes up.
Honestly, it was my fault. But no, it was the drone's fault, but I was flying it, so... I'm really sad about this.
So, we lost our drone and we have no idea where it is. So now we're trying to get it back via the... And it's supposed to be...
Here somewhere.
Here somewhere. And this is the road it's in. Well, fuck. So obviously without having a drone, it's really hard to review their drone filters and drone accessories. So I was kind of feeling bad, and then I saw that they actually came out with some magnetic ND filters for your camera. So I hit them up and told them, hey, get us these ND filters, we're going to review them because this is a product I'm really excited about, and then we can maybe make it up for you since we didn't really release a video about your ND filters. Actually, we lost one of those because one crashed with the drone, and so we couldn't really make a video for them. So now we're just reviewing the new magnetic ND filters. So in general, I would prefer a variable ND filters because it's just easier to manipulate the exposure, but having the EOSR and having the control ring, we can just control the exposure via our ISO on the control ring, so that's not really a problem. And honestly, usually a fixed ND filter has much better quality than a variable ND filter, and honestly, I wouldn't really see how a magnetic ND filter would work with it being a moving part, and that could actually kind of mess it up. So we currently have them in different filter threads, and they also have them in different strength. Right now we're using the ND64, which already is pretty strong, and they also send us one with the ND1000, which I think is just a little bit too much for everyday use, and the only use case I can think of is if you want to shoot long-term exposure photography in broad daylight, which we rarely do. So this is one that we don't really have a lot of use for, but the ND64 is pretty decent if you're just shooting anything in 24 or 25 frames. So like I said, if I don't need an ND filter at all costs, I'm trying to avoid it, but whenever you're filming in 24 or 25 frames and you want to preserve the natural motion blur, it really is essential for your filmmaking. When shooting slow motion, you can crank up the shutter so it's not as important and you can mostly get away with it, but when shooting 25 frames or 24 frames, having an ND filter is definitely best you can do. Also, one thing I really dislike about ND filters is when you want to put your camera back into your camera bag, you don't really have a lens cap for it anymore because it obviously doesn't fit between the lens and the ND filter. But with the ones from Freewell, it's pretty cool because they also have a magnetic lens cap, and that is one feature that I also really like. But obviously the best looking and best functioning product isn't worth anything if the quality isn't as good. So we're here with Bell, and we're supposed to shoot some content for our Instagram account. And yeah, I think we're just testing out the new ND filters. So we're back home, we used the ND filters for the first time, shooting some content for Belle's Instagram account, and I just looked at the footage, examined it for some color shifts or for some rainbow effects that you usually have on cheaper ND filters, which is also one thing that I don't like about ND filters in general, so I rarely use them. I think this is more of a problem with variable ND filters than with fixed ND filters, but looking at the footage, the quality is amazing. You couldn't see any difference between this and just the lens without the ND filter. So in general, the quality of these ND filters is amazing, and I can totally recommend them. We've also been using these ND filters quite a lot for just, you know, getting them off the camera, getting them on the camera again, because I was switching between shooting pictures and shooting video, and that worked very well. And also, if you have two lenses with the same filter thread, like for example the 16-35 and the 24-70, and you have two of the ND filters, you can just easily switch between the ND filter on both lenses, and that makes for really quick shooting and saves you a lot of time. So that is one thing that I really liked. And we had no problem with anything falling off or not being in place. It's really as simple as you can imagine. Just take the ND filter, plop it on top of the lens, and you're good to go. And also with the magnetic lens cap, this is one thing that I really like as well, and it's really quite innovative. And have I mentioned that they actually look pretty dope with a black and red color scheme, especially when using Canon's L lenses, and that is just a little added bonus. So I think at the time when they actually sent us the ND filter over, the only one they had was an ND64, which is really strong. So when we were shooting, it was almost sunset, and I had to use an ISO of 800 up to 3200 to actually cancel out the ND64, which I think is way too much for your regular use case. So an ND32 would probably be the better choice for us, but it depends on which camera you have. Maybe you have a base ISO, then you obviously need a stronger ND filter, or maybe you like to shoot really wide open, then a stronger ND filter is also a good choice for you. The ND1000 that they sent us was definitely way too much to shoot video with it, and we don't really have a lot of use for it, but if you really want to shoot long-term exposures photography wise on bright daylights, that is definitely the way to go for you. So as I mentioned, there was no vignetting, there was no weird color switches, there was also no rainbow pattern that I found on cheaper ND filters, and overall I really like their product. They also have polarizing filters on their website. They have different filter threads and different kind of ND strength, so just go check them out, and I bet there's something for you. The only thing that I really didn't like is that the highest filter thread they have is an 82mm. I also got in touch with Freewell, and they said they have no current plans to actually go higher than that. And since we're mostly using the 28-70 by Canon, it actually has a filter thread of 95 millimeters, so we can't really use any of the ND filters from Freewell for this particular lens, which really is a big bummer because I would love to have an ND filter that is magnetic for the 28-70. But oh well, I think it still works really well for the 16-35. So go check them out on their website. They have a lot of cool stuff for drones as well, like this carrying case or phone mounts, as well as ND filters. But again, we crushed our drones, we lost their ND filters, and we really didn't have a chance to use all these. But now that we can use their ND filters for our lenses, I really think this is a product you should check out. I linked them down in the description below, as well their website, also some Amazon links if you just want to purchase them directly. And I hope you like this little review, and I'll hope to see you on the next one.